How's it going? My name is Chris.
And my name is Ian, and you guys are here to do One Up Gaming Podcast.
We're back to
Today
doing it
is
again.
Oh my God! Second we start, we're
I
all
know,
good
it's
until we
classic.
start the podcast. Oh man! All right. Well, you guys are here. It's July 16th, 2018. We are on episode 17. And how are you doing today, Chris?
I'm doing all right. I am happy to report that the RSS feed on our website is finally online. So our website got a little bit of an update. Now you can stream our audio if you want, separate from having to watch it on YouTube. So that's some pretty cool shit. Just go to our website. There's an RSS button. Click on it, and you got it.
Beautiful. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Big changes with the website. We got that up and going. Obviously, you can see we're trying a little bit of a different layout this week. That'll probably change
I
sometime.
feel so trapped in this box.
Oh God, I'm in a box. Oh God, get me out of this box. But yeah, there's some more changes coming, and we'll play it by ear. If you guys like stuff, let us know. We'll get the appropriate Discord link up there. This is the Discord link that is in there right now is not accurate. You'll have to click on
the link below
in the panels below.
And the
Or go to
panels
the
below
website.
is accurate, but the one that's directly below me is not. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, don't worry about that one. That'll get changed. But there's a bunch of games coming out tomorrow. Getting right into it. Just for starters, Sonic Media Plus is coming out for pretty much everything: PC, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, the whole nine yards. I mean, Sonic Mania was great. Glad to see that they're adding along to it, and they're making it they're doing whatever they got to do to try to sell more copies.
Yeah.
Is there anything? I don't really know if there was anything crazy about it, like any big things, but I do know they had a pretty solid commercial. They recreated a classic '90s commercial for Sonic Media Plus
Oh yeah.
with the electronic store guy, like the Crazy Deal electronic store guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a that kind of style commercial, which I thought was cool. So that's coming out tomorrow. Also, I'm going to try to say this correctly, but I'm probably going to butcher it. The Adventure Time game, Pirates of the Enchiridion, is coming out tomorrow. That's for everything as well: the PC, the PS4, the Xbox One, the Switch. Adventure Time is the very popular cartoon that was on Adult Swim, and sorry. I think this is the first Adventure Time game. So we'll see if it translates well from the cartoon to the video game format. I think it should do okay. Are you a fan of Adventure Time at all? Do you watch it at all?
I don't have cable. I've seen like 2 episodes back, a few years ago. It looked amusing, but it was a cartoon.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think the characters are pretty cool, and they did a really good job with like the story arcs with all the characters. I didn't watch it religiously, but I did catch it here and there. Okay. So I think it's going to play similar to the South Park games, but we'll see. So it comes out tomorrow in the U.S. and then worldwide it comes out on the 20th. Also coming out for the Switch, the Switch is getting its copy of Hand of Fate 2, which is the card game. It's gotten some great reviews on Steam. I think it's like a 9 out of 10 on Steam right now. So I haven't had the opportunity to play it on the PC, but I think it's like it's similar to a game that I used to play called the Guild of Dungeoneering.
Yeah.
But with a little bit more of a customizable card set. So
All right.
there's plenty of other games coming out next week, or not next week, but tomorrow as well. The 2 that I know most about, I think you added that one, but the 2 that I know about are Tempest 4000, which is another game in the Tempest series. It's a bullet hell kind of like vector drawing kind of game where similar to like Geometry Wars, like that style.
Yep.
It's come out for like it's been a game since like the Jaguar. So
Yeah, the
it's good to
original
see
Tempest
that
was not much more than a few white lines and your ship moving between them, trying to shoot things in between the lines. So, man, I get.
So it's obviously it's gone a little bit further since then with since the graphics and everything have been greatly increased over the years, but they do still stay pretty true to form.
Yeah, it
but the other one,
has
I'm
more
really
graphics.
Yeah, now with 20% more graphics. So the other game that I'm actually the one that I'm looking forward to the most tomorrow is a game called Mother Gunship. It's a roguelite bullet hell game. That the coolest part about it is that like you can pretty much mod all of your guns. So like there's like almost an infinite combination of guns that you can pick from. As a big fan of the Borderland games, I love that. I love that kind of stuff. The more guns, the more different things that they can do, the better. And then, so I'm looking forward to that. I don't think I haven't seen any reviews for it yet, but I'm hoping that it's pretty good. And then the last game coming out tomorrow that I don't really know anything about, Chicken Assassin Reloaded is coming out for the PC, the PS4, and the Switch. Do you know anything about this game, Chris? Or
I've never heard of it.
Okay.
It got on the list somehow.
Yeah, it looks like some kind of like side scroller beat 'em up, like Streets of Rage-esque kind of game, with a chicken that's got massive arms. So
Okay.
Yeah. Coming out, and that's all the games coming out tomorrow. That's Tuesday. On Thursday the 19th, there's just a couple of games coming out. Pool Panic is hidden in the Switch and the PC. Pool Panic is a game. It's a pool simulator that's like the worst pool simulator that you'll ever play.
So a swimming pool or billiards?
Like billiards.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like a super animated billiards game where the balls have legs and will run around and you got to like chase them down and hit them with the pool cue and they'll attack you back, and you're not always playing on a pool table. Sometimes you're traveling in the forest and trying to get balls from point A to point B and all that fun stuff. So there's definitely an air of comedy that kind of surrounds it. So
they tried to combine billiards with like mini golf.
Yes.
And also video games.
And also video games. And then the other game that's coming out on Thursday that I don't really know too much about, but it's a game called Impulsion. I think it's got to do with it's kind of like a physics manipulator first-person shooter. So it's kind of like Portal, but without the portals, from what I understand. So it's very reaction and twitchy finger positive. So it's going to test your reaction time and that kind of stuff. But other than that, I don't really know too much about it. I didn't hear anything about it. I've never even heard about the game until probably about an hour ago. So
all right.
We were just kind of do the research on what was coming out, but we tore through that, which is good because I wanted to get through the games pretty quick this week because we've got a lot of other stuff to talk about.
For sure, we're making an effort to actually get to our focus topics from here on. So we've done a little bit of reorganizing things. So we're not even doing games we've been playing until the very end if we have time.
Right.
So in the everlasting pursuit of order, let's get into some gaming news. I'm going to skip down a little bit and do this, and then we can go back and forth going up and down here. So have you played Resident Evil 4?
Of course.
Excellent. So there's so a guy made a mod for the PC version of the game. Now the version on Steam is already an HD remaster, but they left pretty much all of the textures and everything alone in the game. So it basically just kind of looks a little bit nicer, and it plays in a higher resolution, but it's on PC. But this mod increases all of the textures to I think the video I watched said they were 10 times the size that they were before. This
Right.
dude went to Spain and Wales, which are the locations the game primarily is like based off of. It's for its locations. He took pictures to use as a reference and came back and redid all of the textures, and like there are new models in the game. In fact, I think every texture in the game, with the exception of the main character models, have been improved. So that includes like cutscenes. The lighting is improved now. There's like specular lighting in it, like torches actually reflect off of things. The guns have been improved. He improved memory usage in the game. He also fixed a whole bunch of different bugs. So this guy went through and like did some serious stuff. And it came out, I believe, 2 days ago. So it's available now.
Super cool.
Yeah, it's sick. Yeah, and there's more stuff planned for it. I think he's going to be doing the player models coming up soon, and then I think there was there were a couple other things he was going to be working on, but. Suffice to say, this is pretty cool. You should probably check it out if you like RE4.
Okay, I probably will check that out because I was a pretty big fan of the Resident Evil franchise up until about 4, so I think that'll be a fun revisit for me. Okay. But speaking about games that have been, mods that were in development and all that stuff, I don't know if you heard about this game that's been in development called Moon Quest. It's kind of like a Terraria. Like survival crafting game. It's been in development for about 7 years, and it's finally hitting the alpha today. So it's available on Steam currently. It's been a long time. Obviously, this game started development back in 2011. I think back then it was called I don't know, Moon Man or something or other. But the reason that the game has taken so long to be developed is that the developer, who I believe is Ben Porter, decided to make everything from scratch. And when I say everything, I mean like everything all the way up to the software that he used to create this, like to draw sprites.
Yeah.
Because he was complaining about how there are no sprite programs that give you everything you want. So he was like, screw it, I'll just make one myself. It's going to take some more time, and who cares, whatever. So it's been 7 years, and it's alpha's out on Steam. So hopefully it won't be another 7 until we get the beta. Hopefully it'll be probably about another year until we're got the beta there. I think it's available for $12 on Steam.
Okay.
I can take a quick look at that, but with everything going on with Amazon Prime Day today, I've been kind of avoiding looking at pricing for Steam.
Speaking
it's
of
been
Prime
a pretty
Day,
ridiculous game.
I don't know what happened earlier. I checked Amazon's Twitter and couldn't find anything about it, but all of Amazon got slammed earlier today. And it's Prime Day, so to be expected, but I don't mean slammed as in like everyone visited it. Amazon has one of the best technical infrastructures in the world. They can handle that load. But I mean, they went down. All of their services went down. As a developer, this is why I even noticed this. I was at work and I realized like, oh, I can't access the AWS console to get to the the hosted files. So like everything was down. The Amazon.com was down for a little bit. The marketplace was down for a little bit. The AWS console was down. Alexa was down. Yeah, all of it went. It didn't last very long, but it took
I think
a
it was
hit.
like 30 minutes or something, but yeah.
Yeah, it caused a bit of a stir.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how it is. Amazon goes down, half the internet stops working. So
yeah. Well, talking about internet trolls and people who ruin things for everybody else, the Overwatch community has been known to be extremely toxic. It's part of the reason why I stopped playing, because I used to play that game religiously, but just the constant abuse getting thrown left and right if you're not playing the character in the meta or, so on and so forth. Jeff Kaplan has known that this has been a problem for a long time. And a couple weeks back, they introduced a new looking for group feature where you can kind of focus on the stuff that you're looking for. And they also created this endorsement system where you can endorse the player or, at the end of the match for being a good shot caller, for being, having good sportsmanship, or, being a good teammate and all that stuff. And then all of those points, like if you get endorsed in this manner, will level up your endorsement rating that can get you free stuff later on in the game. Since introducing this, and it's only been a couple of weeks, but since introducing this, competitive matches containing abusive chat have been down by over a quarter. So I think the number here is 26.4% in the Americas, and it's 16.4% in Korea. And then overall, of course, across the whole game, competitive, not competitive, and all that fun stuff, the amount of abuse apparently has shrunk by almost 30%, 28.8 in the US, and over 20% in Korea. So this has been really effective.
Yeah, that's a big change for a game like that.
That's a big change in a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see, like, you know, if this continues, if this game's going to get cleaned up. I mean, you're always going to have toxic people in any online game that you play. It's just nature of the beast. It's very easy to get frustrated when things aren't going your way and you want to blame your teammates, but you really need to look at yourself, and it's hard to. So I understand why this exists, but at the same time, to see it get turned around that fast, I think is very, very impressive. Great job, Jeff Kaplan. I mean, I know you guys care a lot about that game over there, and I'm glad to see it starting to turn around, especially with the next season of the pro level play coming up right around the corner.
Yeah, dude. I'm really glad they went with an endorsement system rather than a upvote downvote system. I've always felt that if you start including the ability to rate someone negatively, you just invite problems. And there's actually an episode of Black Mirror that deals with that specifically. But before we veer off track, we'll keep talking about the internet a little bit here. If you use Google Chrome, then you are amongst the majority of people on the internet, and you are about to get a performance hit. Google Chrome version 67 has been rolled out as the new current stable version of Chrome, which means that if you haven't already, you will very soon be upgrading to it automatically. Chrome updates itself in the background, so you might actually already have this. Chrome 67 enables a feature called site isolation by default. Site isolation is a method of sandboxing. Now, Chrome has already been sandboxing its tabs forever, but in this instance, it's sandboxing all of Chrome from all of the rest of the system. And the reason for doing this is that it will protect users against Spectre, which you may have heard of a little while ago. It was a big bug in the Intel architecture in your processor that allowed somebody to really do horrible things. So Chrome has a new feature now that is enabled by default that protects you from Spectre at the cost of anywhere from 10 to 13% more RAM usage. So Chrome is already a browser that is known for taking a lot of RAM, and it has in the past occasionally had problems with memory issues and leaks and that kind of thing. That has been mostly resolved, but it is still a pretty memory intensive browser. So if you have a computer that is just kind of, still keeping in there and holding on and just being able to use the internet and everything else, you may want to consider the implications of this on yourself, because you're about to use significantly more RAM. Let me take a quick gander at my own Chrome process here. This is taking up 150, 187, 135, 162. So Chrome on my computer is using almost a gig of RAM. So be prepared for Chrome to take another 100 or so megs of system memory. Yeah. So it's going to be a hard hit, but the trade-off here is that
it's for the best.
You will be protected from Spectre. So just be aware.
Okay. But staying on topic with things that are involving real life and gaming. The World Cup just finished on Sunday. It was, I want to say, it was France versus Croatia, and I think it went. No, it was just a straight game. It was France versus Croatia. France won 4-2. I was planning on watching it, but I ended up sleeping for like 13 hours on Sunday, and I just happened to wasn't feeling too good, and I just kind of slept through the whole thing because the game started at 11 in the morning. But one of the big things in this game for me. After one of the goals from the French players, I want to say it was like the third goal. He ran off, and players get super excited and super animated when they score. They'll rip their shirts off or they'll do something crazy. This one player did the Fortnite take the L dance, which is it's, if you've never seen it, it's just putting the L on the forehead and kicking your feet out back and forth. I think it's one of the default emotes, actually, or one of the first ones that you get in Fortnite. But for me, it kind of just shows like the World Cup is the largest sporting event in the world. It's bigger than Wimbledon. It's bigger than the World Series in baseball, which is a national thing. I don't know why they call it the World Series. It's bigger than the Olympics, actually, sometimes too. So to see an emote from a video game make its way to a stage that large, I think that just shows how big and how influential Fortnite has really become in the last couple of months. Is it really like that big of a piece of news? Probably not, but I like to report on Fortnite a little bit, and I think that was just kind of moderately interesting. I'm trying not to focus, and season 5 just came out, but there's plenty of things online that you can see that talk about season 5. I don't have to sit here and describe all of the new updates and stuff. That would take forever, and we want to get to some other topics. But yeah,
I think it's a little bit interesting that this kind of thing happened. So we talked last week about how gaming is now the biggest source of entertainment on the planet. It's bigger than literally every other thing you can do to entertain yourself. More people do this than anything else. So, given that it's that large, I think it's interesting that we haven't seen more recognizable gaming references in areas outside of the gaming sphere. So, I mean, in Wimbledon, or in who knows, maybe even a chess tournament or something. Maybe at the next Olympics, we'll see somebody doing a
praise the sun. Praise the sun.
I hit my mic. Praise the sun. Oh man, yeah. But it's I think it's interesting that this is the first. Maybe it's not the first time it's been seen, but we noticed it anyway. So I think it was maybe just a stroke of luck for Fortnite. In that Fortnite is huge, that it was the first one that showed up. So just in terms of popularity of what's being played, it had better odds of getting there, and so it did. But I mean, I think we'll probably see more stuff like this in the future, where it's just people do the things that they enjoy, and they're celebrating, and they took something that they loved, and in their moment of glee, they shared that thing with other people, which is really cool.
Yeah, and gaming and sports have kind of gone hand to hand over the course of the years as well. I mean, if you want to go back, I remember that there were pitchers in baseball that were getting wrist injuries from playing Guitar Hero too long. I know that there were a couple of guys in the NHL this season that got they were told to not dress and sit in the box upstairs because they had pulled an all-nighter and maybe had gotten 2 hours of sleep because they were playing Fortnite until 5 a.m. So I mean, gaming and sports are there. You've got people who stream, like Tyler Johnson, who's an NHL player. He streams on Twitch. Demetrius Johnson is I think he's a UFC fighter. He streams on Twitch on his downtime. So I mean, sports and video games have been kind of hand in hand. So I mean, I'm not surprised to see this hit in soccer or football, as you want to call it. But for me, it was just a surprise that it hit that large of a stage, and it was that recognizable on that level of stage. No one questioned what that was. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was kind of cool. But moving on from that, other big games and game studios. There's a gentleman whose name is Ben Brody. He used to work for Blizzard. He helped develop Hearthstone and helped it become the game that it is, the monster game that it is today. A while back, he decided that, hey, I want to leave. I'm going to leave. I'm tired of sitting here and being directed to do things. I want to go and create my own stuff again. I'm going to go leave, and I want to start a new project. It may be game related, it may not be, but I just want to get out there and do something for myself. The other day, I would say about 3 or 4 days ago, he tweeted out that he started a new gaming studio, and it's called Second Dinner and it's already up and running. So they don't have a new IP or anything like decided there yet, but the company itself is up and going. They are starting to employ people. They are getting geared up to at least make some decisions on where they want to go, which I think is kind of cool. And on that note, so expect some big stuff from Ben. You know, he's a very talented developer. He knows what he's doing. Obviously, he's worked in the higher ends of Blizzard for a while. And talking about Blizzard, the big World of Warcraft expansion's coming up next month, I believe. I think it's sometime later on, but in like late August. But the pre-patch goes live tomorrow for World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth. So this game is massive, and they're with how popular this game is and how many people play this game, trying to download it on day one, the day of release, is going to be impossible. So what they've done is they've said, hey, we can get the bulk of this out of the way onto your computer at least a month in advance. So when the day happens, you don't have to download as much, and we can open up the server, open up all the servers and stuff to make the transition to get people into the game a lot faster. So that's going to be live tomorrow. And so if you play World of Warcraft, get on it. I re-downloaded World of Warcraft. I haven't had the chance to play it recently, but as Battle for Azeroth comes out, I think I might have to hop back in for a little bit, just because I like the lore.
I've kept a habit of playing World of Warcraft for its story when it comes out, and then not touching it. I have this probably poor view of. I'll say it this way. Anytime I hear people say, like, I'm getting back into World of Warcraft, I'm like, oh, no.
No. Roll the eyes.
No, jeez. So, we'll see. I mean, it's not like I don't, play the game when there's something new out, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I unfairly judge people.
The last thing I've got on my news section,
Sure.
Have you ever played Enter the Gungeon?
No, but I've seen it played.
Okay, yeah, so it's, for those who don't know, Enter the Gungeon, I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. It's another roguelike game. It's a bullet hell, so there's bullets everywhere. It's 4 players, so it's like it's a really cool multiplayer game. But next week, this week, the DLC, sorry, it took me a second there. The DLC Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, that's Draguns.
Dragons, yeah.
Dragons. That comes out late this week into next week. This DLC has been pushed back like multiple times. It was supposed to be released last fall, so they actually had to do a lot of work to get it up to speed and get it ready, and so it comes out next week, and I'm pretty stoked.
Cool.
Maybe I will play it on stream. Do you have anything that you want to add to the news section this week?
Just one other thing to piggyback off of Ben Brody's leaving Blizzard.
Sure.
James Olin, a few days ago, left BioWare. James Olin is the guy who was behind Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. He did Knights of the Old Republic. He did... it was about samurai in the East. I can't remember its name. Big BioWare title back in the day. Anyway, so he's left, and he's gone, and has already opened a new studio, and he will be working on role-playing materials, which is pretty sick. So, be looking out for some cool things with that. Oh, he was working on.
When you say role-playing materials, do you mean like tabletop role-playing, or
I mean
more
tabletop role-playing materials? Like, I believe he's going to be doing work on a source book.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
That is super, super cool.
Yeah. So he's like his tweet just says that he wants to get working on, he wants to work on something smaller and more personal again. He's going to do something else. He's got the time, he's got the money, he's got the chutzpah to do it. So why not?
Hey, props to him. Tabletop role-playing games have been, they're at an all-time high right now. So I know if you would have asked me 2 years ago if I knew anybody playing any tabletop role playing games, I'd be like, no. But now I know like
Wait,
I would
how
say
long
half
ago?
the people I know. 2 years ago.
Dude, 2 years ago you were playing in my tabletop game.
Well, I mean, like if you asked me if I knew anybody in person.
Oh,
like,
fair.
it would've
All right.
been a no.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, now half the people I know, and I know some of the people that are watching the channel right now, they have a weekly Dungeons and Dragons game that they play in, and all sorts of fun stuff. So, that's awesome. So, power to him. I hope he comes up with something cool. There's plenty of great tabletop games out there. I'd love to see another one.
Yeah.
Oh man! But
Actually,
finally,
if I can throw one last thing onto there, while we're talking about really cool tabletop
do it
games,
up.
This came
Do it
out,
up.
This came out a couple of months ago, and as a big Star Trek fan, I'm super pumped that I finally got this in a couple days ago. Star Trek Adventures, which is a source book for adventuring around in Star Trek in the Prime timeline. If you're into Star Trek and you're into role-playing games, you should check that shit out. It's really good. I'm not going to go into it too much, but
Yeah, maybe we'll talk about it at a later date in a different segment. But I feel like we've been putting this segment off for like 3 weeks now.
Yes,
and I still haven't done any research into the topic because I wanted to talk about it primarily off the top of my head and give an honest opinion about it. But thriller games, horror games, they are a genre.
they are a genre.
That I don't
They're two genres.
normally play. Yeah, that I don't normally play. To be fair, to be 100% honest, I jump scare super easy, and it's very embarrassing.
And it's so fun to watch.
Yeah, so maybe I'll do a horror game stream sometime.
Oh, I would love to watch you play Dead Space. The first two Dead Space games. Oh man,
I can't do it. The first
So good.
I played through the first Dead Space game, and I had to play it with somebody in the room with me. I could not play it by myself because I refuse to play it with all of the lights on. I have to play it with the lights off.
Yeah.
And the jump scares are real. However, games that are a little bit on the gorier side, games like Doom and stuff, like I can play those all day long. Rage, I can play those all day long. That's not a problem to me. Jump scares are really the biggest thing for me personally.
Okay.
But what would you say is the defining line between a thriller game and a horror game?
So for me, the thing that will immediately shift a game from horror to thriller, and there's no gray line, like it's just that you are one or you are the other, is a feeling of helplessness. The moment that I am no longer helpless, it's a thriller. That's it. If I can defend myself, I no longer fear anything in that game. If you played Resident Evil 7, there was as soon as you got your handgun, really nothing scared me in that game anymore. There was a point near the end where you get like an assault rifle, and at that point, I wasn't even cautious. I just walked down the hall shooting things. There's a line to be drawn there. Some games do a really good job at keeping themselves in the horror genre. Amnesia: The Dark Descent did a great job of that. At no point did I ever feel like I could really defend myself. Soma did an okay job at this. You had a little bit of ability to fend off the monster chasing you, and that was pretty good. Alien Isolation did a really good job at staying in the horror genre primarily. There was a point where you got like a flamethrower that you could scare off the alien with, and at that point, it kind of shifted more into I would say closer to
thriller side.
Closer to thriller. But Isolation did a really good job of giving you the ability to defend yourself only a little bit. It didn't so much give you a real way to defend yourself as it gave you a safety net. The flamethrower, I felt, was there so that if you fucked up really bad and you knew it and you heard the alien coming up behind you, you could spin, hit the button, turn, and keep running.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't kill the alien. It's not killable.
So,
it'll run away for a minute. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Are you familiar with the game Little Nightmares?
I've heard the name.
I was going to ask you where you kind of feel how that kind of feels, because she doesn't have the ability to to fight the creatures. It's kind of just sneaking around and trying to solve puzzles without getting caught.
Okay.
And it's really, really known for creating a feeling of helplessness. So that's why I was curious if you had heard about it, and I wanted to get your opinion on it.
Gotcha.
I kind of feel like it's a horror game, but there's not like that traditional blood or gore or like fear of like you definitely have the fear of getting caught, but like it doesn't really have that like crazy super monster thing coming after you.
Yeah.
You know?
So I have I wrote down a couple of examples of games that I thought were uniquely like and solely thriller, and that I thought were solely horror. And then I actually jotted down. I tried to come up with more than I actually did. I only came up with one, but an example of a hybrid that kind of somehow gets to that gray line. So things that I think are outright thriller games where I was jump scared once or twice, but at no point did I ever become fearful of anything. I would say Dead Space, the new Doom, and Until Dawn were very much thriller games. When did Until Dawn make that list?
Yeah, I was gonna say like, isn't Until Dawn?
That sounds more horror. Why is it in that list?
Yeah,
I don't know. I was
there.
Like, Dead Space and Doom. Until Dawn is a horror game.
Yeah, that game's like it's like a teen slasher movie in video game form.
Yeah. And so Dead Space and Doom, just ones that I picked because like they can be scary and they can jump scare you, but you at no point are in real danger. Horror games, Until Dawn. Like Ian said, kind of a slasher, teen Pulp Fiction kind of movie. I already mentioned Amnesia: The Dark Descent, Alien Isolation, and one of the most beautiful games. This is probably game of the year for me last year. No, maybe it was this year. I don't remember when it came out. Subnautica. No, it officially released this year, but Subnautica. I would call that absolutely a horror game. Most of this game is spent underwater, and it consistently forces you to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And the deeper you go, the more scary things get. I mean, you run into... there's the classic, giant Leviathan monster that you see it, and you just turn around and nope, like right away from that thing.
Yeah, and you book it out of there.
Yeah, but there are other things in that game that just get really damn creepy. Like when you get deep down, like into the caves, there are these like hybrid jellyfish spider things that'll crawl around, and they can fire an EMP blast that'll disable you and like drain most of your battery and shut your stuff off for a while and force you to sometimes get out and repair, or you'll just drift for a second as it gets closer, and maybe your power comes on soon enough for you to be able to get away from it. There are certain like caves that are more shallow where you'll run into something called a mesmer, where so your suit in that game has a little AI that's in it that's like just like warning, power low, or like excess damage, or welcome back to the station, or whatever, like that little voice that's there just to help you out with stuff.
Right.
There's a creature in that game called a mesmer that if you run into, it takes over your AI, and it gravitationally pulls your camera towards it, and your AI will say stuff like, your primary objective is to approach the creature. Do not look away from the creature. Keep swimming forward. Come closer. And when you move your mouse to try to look away from it, like it drags your camera back, so you have to like rip your mouse away in order to get away from it. And it's just the game is beautiful and it's scary.
That's an interesting mechanic. That's a very interesting mechanic. I kind of dig that a lot. I know that's probably I know that's one of your favorite horror games that are out there. And I know I said I don't play a lot of horror games, but do you think you can take a guess like what my favorite horror game has been over the last couple of years? It's not one that you've mentioned. It was super, super popular.
It was super popular? Soma?
No, not Soma. We talked about Soma. Actually, I have Soma in my in my Steam library, and I have not had the chance to play that yet. I am interested to play it. All right.
I don't know.
It involves spending a couple of nights someplace and monitoring things.
Oh, Freddy's.
Yep, Five Nights at Freddy's. Yep. I was a big fan of the Freddy series. I don't
Yeah.
play a lot of them because I get scared a lot. Like it's just I just jump scare real bad, and that game was a jump scare king.
Yeah, all like every scare in that game was a jump
that's-
scare.
Yeah,
And like it was so many jump scares that you were just scared of getting jump scared the whole time.
Yeah, literally sat on the edge of my chair, like super tense, giving myself Charlie horses because I'm stretching my calves that tight, just ready to just trying to prevent myself from jumping up.
Yeah.
So that was one of my favorite ones that I played. And this one's going to get me a little bit of flack, I think, with some people.
right.
But a game that I did not enjoy, that I do consider like a horror game, or it was Left 4 Dead 2. I consider that kind of partial in the horror genre, from my personal opinion. I know you would probably classify it more as a thriller because you're kind of in control of the situation. But I feel like a lot of the horror tropes were there, and I kind of classify it more like a horror than a thriller. I kind of classify thrillers and horrors a little bit different. I kind of look at them like in a film aspect, where a thriller is more psychological and requires kind of like more thought process and explanation to like what's going on, where a horror primarily just kind of has blood and gore and like all that kind of stuff. So like for me personally, I would
reverse those.
No, I mean that exactly the way that I said. A thriller is more psychological, and a horror has more blood and gore.
Okay.
To me personally,
All right.
that's just the way that I kind of look at it. So I would consider games like Dead Space to be like more of a horror movie, more of like a horror game for me. Actually, did you put it as a horror game, or did you put it as
Dead
thriller?
Space? Oh, that's all thriller.
Yeah, for me, that's a horror game.
Okay.
For me, things that are like thrillers, like I would put the original BioShock games kind of as thrillers.
Okay.
I would put. Let me look at my Steam library here again. I haven't done a lot of research on the topic. I'm just kind of going off of like my honest opinion. BioShock, I definitely consider. Yeah, I would consider the Dark Souls series a thriller series.
Really?
I would, yeah, because there's a lot more thought process that goes along with that. I mean, there's some jump scares, but like actually, you actually described it to me like way back, where you said the game is 100% completely fair as long as you keep your eyes open and you.
Yeah. Oh, it absolutely is. Yeah.
So for me, that's a classic trait of a thriller game for me. If I look at it as a thriller movie, where you kind of have to, it requires more thought and and more attention. As I scroll down my list here,
that makes sense. I've always made the distinction. Like I said before, the helplessness thing, but really if you look further past that, being helpless is really just kind of the catalyst for feeling afraid of something. So I think for me, I classify horror games as something that would horrify me, that would make me afraid, and thriller as something that would... It kind of has the same style, but you're in control of the situation. It's the sole difference, at least in my definition. That's just how I look at it.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the beautiful thing about the idea between thrillers and horrors, is that they mean something different to everybody, and nobody's opinion is wrong in this. It's what that means to them. So, and I think it's really interesting that we both take such a different standpoint on it, which is super, super cool. Like I haven't played a lot of Subnautica, but I wouldn't have thought of that out of the gate as a horror game, because I didn't think of it as more than just like a survival adventure game. Like I didn't even think about it along the lines of what would be considered scary and what would not be.
There were more than a few times in that game I was really afraid to go down. I was just like, I don't want to know what's down there, and I'm not going down there, but I have to go down there. So, oh man. But so one of the things I was looking at were I did think of a game that is it rides the line between thriller and horror in my definition. I think from your definition, this would be fully a. You said thriller was more of the like thought provoking and explained kind of thing, and horror was the more gutsy. So I think this is a riding the line kind of game. A game called Fear, the first one. It stands for First Encounter Assault Recon. It came out in the mid to late 2000s. You play as a psychic soldier, and throughout the game you use the mechanic of slow motion to go through and fight a whole bunch of. It's a first-person shooter, and you are a member of the military, so you come in with assault rifles and shotguns, and you are never defenseless in that game, except when you are. Very often, the game will move scenes. So you'll be running and gunning, and then you'll walk into a hallway, and the lights shut off, and blood starts dripping from the walls, and you lower your gun, and this woman appears at the end of the hallway looking at you, and you begin like walking towards her, and she vanishes, right? And then you turn around, and the blood is gone, and it's a regular hallway, and the lights are back, and you didn't even notice that it changed. I remember one scene that scared the shit out of me in Fear, and then it was immediately followed by. So I'll just explain this briefly. So you're walking down a catwalk, and there's an open area below you to your right that's sort of a boiler room. And so you walk down this catwalk, and you get on the ladder, right? And the way ladders work in this game is it's always in first person, so it doesn't like flip out. So you look down the ladder, you turn around, you look down, and so you see the catwalk again. And then you look down to watch yourself step onto the ladder. And then as you look back up, the little girl who's like her name is Alma Wade, is standing right there, like right at where you're at. And as you're doing this is where the catwalk is moving back up in your head. And so you flip out, and if you move your camera back up, she's gone. So she's only there for a split second. And so you get down this ladder, and you're like worried about what's going to happen next, and then you turn a corner and it's a firefight, and it's right back into first-person shooter. It's the kind of game that can scare the hell out of you and make you feel helpless against her. It's sort of like everything that you have to defend yourself is only worthwhile against the corporeal realm, and when you get to deal with Alma, she's like, guns don't work. So you're just helpless in that sense. So it's really the most jarring game I think I've played like that, where it's from I'm in control to oh shit to I'm back in control.
Yeah. This was brought up in the chat, and I think this is actually worth talking about.
Sure.
Limbo, I would consider definitely more of a horror game, which is kind of it's an interesting perspective, because it kind of feels like I kind of feel like it's a trial by death game. Like you have to pay attention because it's very puzzle oriented, but at the same time, like it's you can't tell that the trap is coming up until you experience it. You have to die and get back to the checkpoint before you know that you have to avoid the trap. But really, like if sticking to what I define a horror game and a thriller game, I mean, Limbo has a gore filter. So I mean, by default, I feel like I would consider that more of a horror game, because there is gore, and the deaths can be pretty brutal sometimes for the animation style that it is. So, how do you feel about Limbo? Have you played Limbo at all? I mean, it was a pretty popular game. Okay, it was a really, really popular. No, it's fine.
I don't end up actually playing very many horror games. I kind of pick and choose.
Yeah, Limbo was a game that I actually did play through because it had gotten such great reviews, and it was really like one of my first forays into indie gaming. When I moved from console to PC, it was like after the Super Meat Boy revolution, and more when like Braid and Limbo came out. So I mean, the music, it's grayscale graphics, ambient music, a haunting environment, dark visuals. Crazy monsters, deadly, like all sorts of crazy stuff going on in that game. So, I mean, I would definitely classify it as a horror game, even though I can see where a lot of people wouldn't. Yeah, and that's just kind of how I feel about Limbo. A great game nonetheless, though.
Okay.
Definitely worth the play. Trying to think if there's anything else in my list here. I have all sorts of horror games in my Steam library
Yeah.
that I just haven't gone through and finished. I played Prey for a little bit, and Prey freaked me the fuck out, so I put that on hold. I put that the second I had a jump scare in that game, I closed it out and I said never playing again. So I may
literally anything could attack you.
Yeah. Literally, because in Prey, literally anything can be a bad guy. And
have you heard about the new DLC for Prey?
I heard
The
about it.
multiplayer mode where one person is a human and the other players are mimics.
Nope. Love mimics as D&D monsters. Hate them in video game format. It's too real at that point. Like you laughed, I laughed, the table laughed, we killed the table. The whole deal.
Yeah.
So. Oh man.
I heard that one was the chair laugh, but all right, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
I hear you. Yeah.
I mean, I could spend a good 30 minutes just on great mimics, like the best things to do for mimics, but that'll be a different topic some other time.
We should at one point just have an entire stream just talking about tabletop games.
We should definitely do that
at some point. Oh man. So let's
what have
let's
you
go
been
ahead
playing?
and carry it on here. I think you just asked me. Let's talk about what we've been playing. We did it.
Yeah,
we covered our discussion topic.
We did.
Mission
I know
accomplished.
you've had a very. I'm super happy for you with with what you're going to be doing with your stream. What you're doing with your stream currently. I'm super stoked about it. Even though the last couple of streams to me have been bullshit, but that's just my personal opinion.
So I guess I should preface what he's talking about.
Yeah.
On my stream, which is on my channel, you can see right there, Average Goatee. I have about a week ago, I decided to just play through the entire Legend of Zelda franchise, the whole thing from start to finish, back to back to back to back to back, no other games in between. I have played all of them before. It's my favorite game franchise. None of them are my favorite game overall, but as just a series as a whole, I really love The Legend of Zelda. I played Zelda 2 when I was a kid. I also played Zelda 1 when I was in high school. I never finished them because the first Legend of Zelda, I couldn't find level 2. For whatever reason. Like, it was just right down there, but I could never find it. And Zelda 2, I never finished because... Holy shit, that game is hard. But yeah, I've played them all. I love them. Probably my favorite. I can't really decide on a single favorite between all of them, but I will say this: I can pick favorites between mobile handheld and console games. I think my favorite console game was Link to the Past, and my favorite handheld game, I think Oracle of Ages. Was my favorite there.
Link to the Past is a top 3 game of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. If you could rate something above a 15, I would. It's a 12 of 10 every time. It's told so well. They went back to the first Legend of Zelda and they said, how could we do this? How can we do this better? And so they made the sword cover an area, which is extremely helpful because in the first Legend of Zelda, you would very often get bumped facing an enemy, but your sword didn't quite hit him. Yeah, it was on like a half grid. So they made your sword cover a small area, which was very helpful. They added more items into the game. We saw the introduction of the hook shot. We saw the introduction of a whole bunch of canes and magic got a real introduction, not the Zelda 2 like it does a thing, but like real useful magic saw an introduction in that game. Tons more dungeons than had existed before. It was just a beautiful experience overall. It had an actual plot that was told to you. There were characters' names that mattered for the first time. It was just a beautiful game.
Yep. To me, I think it's like it's a perfect game. I don't think they could have done anything better to make it any better at all.
I fully agree. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that game. Nothing.
It's paced extremely well. Like the character development is good. They don't ask you to do anything too ridiculous. There's plenty of secrets in the game. There's plenty of hidden tricks that you can do. The glitches that are in there remain in there for a reason. I believe even they've the devs have even said like the concept of the the bonk where you run into an object and it kicks you back. There are strats that you can do for certain sections where bonking is intended and is the optimal thing to do. For those who don't know, I play Legend of Zelda Link to the Past randomizer all the time. It's because I love that game so much. I want to make it to the point where I have to play it differently every time, and that's the best way to do it. And it's still absolutely a perfect game. Man, I love that series so much. I'm so glad that you're playing it.
Zelda 2 is garbage. We were talking last night, and I think there was like some miscommunication that maybe it was going to be a blind run for me, and no, definitely not. I've beat LTTP probably 10, 15 times. It's,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's that good of a game that
Oh yeah.
If you haven't played
it's great to watch either way.
Yeah.
So aside from the Zelda franchise I've been playing, I've had to do things off stream for other games I've been wanting to play, but I've been playing Wizard of Legend, which is just a roguelike action game. Just run around, kill a bunch of stuff, try to beat a whole bunch of bosses, and see if you can get to the end. Haven't managed to do it yet, but still pretty fun.
Yeah.
Lots of spell casting and whatnot. A lot of particles on the screen all the time. And then I've also been playing some Warframe. You and I were playing last night a little bit, just running around, blowing stuff up. It's pretty good. How about you? What have you been playing?
Well, I'll start with that. This week has been the week of the Switch for me. Mm-hmm. I downloaded 20 XTX, the Mega Man clone that we talked about last week. I played some Captain Toad Treasure Tracker this week, which is the Wii U port. The game came out a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it for what it is. It's a great kids game, and it's a great game. Like if you have little kids or if you're around them, like. That's a great way to introduce them into gaming. Started playing Octopath Traveler. That game is incredible. It reminds me of the old Final Fantasy games for the Super Nintendo. The story so far has been excellent. The voice acting has been great. I haven't gotten that far in. I think I'm about 3 hours in. I've got about 3. I'm on my 3rd character out of 8 right now, getting their intro story. But for me, honestly, the biggest thing that I've been playing, and I think the most I went to Guardian Con this weekend and down in Tampa, Florida, and I had the opportunity to play the new Gambit game mode for Destiny 2.
I am very jealous, by the way.
It is coming out in September. I waited 2 hours to get into the building. My friend Bennett, he's at Dammit Bennett on Twitch. He streams Destiny all the time. He had a VIP pass. He got inside an hour ahead of me. Not combined, but when I joined him, I actually had to sneak into line. So here's the deal. I'll tell you this story.
It's over now. They can't kick you out.
Yeah, they can't kick me out now. And it wasn't even an issue of being kicked out or whatnot. Mm-hmm. So the deal was the venue opened at 10 o'clock for all the VIPs. And then for general admission, which I was, because I bought my ticket way late, the venue opened at 11. And so Bennett got inside an hour early, and he immediately queued up for Gambit. He got into the line, at the Bungie spot, got in line, and then was there for an hour with the line not moving. And then I came in an hour later, immediately made my way to the Gambit line. The second I got there, the Bungie reps were like, "Look, sorry, the line's closed for the day. We have too many people in line. We have too many people in line. You're going to have to come back tomorrow and play." Now, luckily, because this was partially a business trip for me, I had brought down a really, really nice gimbal camera, a stabilizer that I could use to just kind of I needed to figure out how to use it for an event that I have next weekend. And I found Ben in line. And I used the gimbal camera to convince everyone around me that I was Bennett's videographer for the day. And we were filming stuff for his YouTube. So I had him cut a couple of promos, and I recorded the promos, and then everyone was cool with me being there in line. No one thought I was cutting at that point. The people behind us, and actually the people behind us, they work for Mixer, or they stream on Mixer. They were primarily Mixer guys. I know that's a taboo subject on the Twitch, but you know what? It's another streaming service out there. Yeah,
we don't own Twitch
platform out there. Yeah, they were super cool about it. And the funny thing was that all of the VIPs had a red color badge, and all of the general admissions had a purple color badge. And I want to say I was for the entire day, I was probably the only purple badge that had the opportunity to play Gambit, which I'm super, super stoked about. But regardless, snuck into the line, waited. Since I already had waited an hour to get in, and then I waited another hour and a half just to get to the system to play, just to get to the computers to play the Gambit game. We actually, because we had paired up, we had to play the mixer guys behind us. We had talked about it in line, and we said, okay, everyone go out, balls to the wall, first round. Whoever wins, throw the second round. So because that way that we get the third round and we get the most amount of time possible to play the game. Because if we figured we have to wait 2 hours in line in order to play the game, we might as well get 20 minutes of gameplay out of it.
Yeah.
The game mode is amazing. I can't speak the praises of it enough. It's got things for everybody. People who just prefer PvE content, there's plenty of stuff for you to do in that game mode. People who like PvP, there's plenty of stuff for you to do in that game mode. I know we're coming close to our thing here.
Hey, man,
time here.
You excited about it? Talk about it, man. No harm.
Yeah, but man. So, all right, I'll just give a basic breakdown on how the game mode works. The game mode works like this. If you haven't seen it at E3, it's a PvE game mode. The goal is to collect 75 motes of light, I guess you would call it, and you deposit those 75 motes into your bank. After you deposit those 75 motes, a big primeval boss shows up, and you have to kill it. Now it's you versus your team of 4 versus another team of 4 in 2 completely matching instances, and the first team to get their boss down wins the round. Now here's the deal: you can only hold 15 motes at a time. And if you turn in more than 5 motes into your bank, what it does is it shuts down the other team's bank. Their bank will actually suck down into the ground, and they can't turn their motes in. And it'll drop a blocker that they have to kill, like some kind of creature that they have to kill before that bank pops back up. So if you turn in anywhere between 5 to 9 motes, you'll drop a small blocker. If you turn in 10 to 14 motes, you'll drop a medium blocker. And if you drop all 15 motes, you'll generate a large blocker. Now, a small blocker in our game mode was like a Taken. If you're familiar with the game, it was like a Taken Centurion. So it was like a creature that had health and then a full shield. The mediums were like a yellow barred captain, and then the larges were like a yellow barred ogre with shields.
Okay.
Now here's the crazy thing is that blockers stack, and I learned that really, really fast. Ooh. So if everybody on your team drops 5 motes in, then they have to deal with 3 different blockers before their thing shows up. Their bank comes back up. So that's the first twist to the game, is the use of blockers and shutting down their banks in order to get the competitive advantage.
Right.
But like I said, there are 75 motes that you have to collect. When you collect 25 motes, what happens is on the other team's side, there is a portal that opens. Now, this is where the PvP comes in. That portal opens, and they can send one of their players over to your side to start to kill you guys. They come in with double shields because they know it's 4 against 1, and they wanted to give the other guy a little bit of help in being able to compete. Mm-hmm. So it's 4 against 1. He's got double shields, and he can see exactly, and whoever the person that comes over is can see exactly how many motes that the person is holding. So he can say, "Oh, this guy's got 13 motes. I'm going to go target him first, knock him down. If you die, you lose all your motes. You can't get picked up."
Gotcha.
So
what's the respawn timer like?
Yeah, it's about normal. I think it's like a 6-second timer. It's like a 6-second timer. But you can get picked up in that time. Mm-hmm. But if you die, you still lose your motes even if you get picked up. Now here's the other thing about you coming over to the other side. If you come over to the other side, you have like 25 seconds to operate in that zone, or up to 4 kills. So if you wipe the whole team, then you get sucked back out. So you've done your job, you delayed them, so on and so forth. So at 25 motes and at 50 motes, the portal opens for the other team. They can send somebody over. When you turn in all 75 motes and that primeval spawns, the portal is open for good. They can keep sending one person. They can keep sending one person over at a time. As long as one person is there, you can't go through the portal again. But as long as one person is over there, you can continually send somebody over. Now, what the difference is, because once you turn on your motes, you're not preventing them from turning in more motes. When you kill people in the zone and the primeval is up, you'll actually heal the primeval. So that's where the game gets super, super competitive, because they could get that guy down to a third of health, and then I think every kill is regains a sixth of the primeval's health.
So if if you kill an enemy player, so if somebody invades your side and you kill them, their dude gets a sixth of their health back?
No, if they invade you and you kill them, they go back to their other side. But if you invade the other team and you kill two of their guys, that boss gets a third of his health back.
Ooh. Okay.
So you can, in theory, if you wipe the team, give that boss 2/3 of its health right back. So that's where the game gets super competitive, because once they open up, even though you're still collecting motes, you're sending a guy over to delay them and kill them to keep the boss at full. And it gets to a point where it's literally who can DPS the boss really the fastest.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of strategy involved. Do you keep sending somebody over, or do you just try to 4-man your boss down? Do you just throw everything at it? And actually, Ben and I, our friend Cork Nasty, and then we had another random guy who kind of joined us. We actually won our game against the Mixer guys, which I thought was super cool. They played really, really hard too, and it was really, really, really close. Close enough to the point that in the third round, when the game ended, I thought they had won. But what happened was Ben was over there and actually killed two of them and gave them a third of the health back. Oh. And then we ended up winning the DPS race. So that was super, super crazy. It's going to lead to some awesome moments for the competitive scene in Destiny. I tried to explain it as best as I could.
Oh, I understand. That sounds great.
And it's definitely a complex game mode. It's not just capture the flag or do this. There's a lot to it.
Yeah.
But it felt really balanced and really fair. And for me, that's super exciting.
Yeah.
Because you don't really see that all the time. And this is a brand new game mode that I don't think you've ever really seen in any first-person shooter in any kind of multiplayer aspect. The concept of a PvE VP type of thing. So the guy that actually developed the game mode was there, and he was kind of explaining as you were in line. He kind of explained to us how the game worked, and he even said look, there's so much stuff in Destiny 2 that I haven't had the opportunity to do because I've been spending the last year and a half making this game mode. And it's it was his absolute baby, and the reception for it was insane. We watched the tournament. There was a tournament between a whole bunch of streamers that night, and we watched the tournament go down. It was about an hour and a half, and that was kind of cool. It was very interesting to see how everyone kind of attacked things differently, and there's no real meta yet. So who knows? Who knows what'll happen when it gets released in September? But I'm super, super stoked about it. I think it's one of the coolest game modes that I've ever played for multiplayer. Honestly,
dude, that sounds awesome, man. Look forward to playing some of that.
Yeah, and that's what I've been playing this weekend. So I had I had the opportunity to play a game mode that no one else really is. That maybe 200 people have had the opportunity to play, and I thought that was super, super cool. And it was an experience that I'll never forget. Oh man! Nice. But yeah, yeah. Thanks so much for sticking with us. I know we ran a little bit late today. I got a little rock hard for a game mode that I felt like we needed to talk about, but
listen, if you can put up with me talking about Factorio, I can put up with you talking about Destiny. It's all good.
That's fair. That's fair. I just want to say thanks to everybody for coming to hang out today. Thanks for listening. You can find us here at the Two Dudes One Up Gaming Podcast here at twitch.tv/2dudes1up every Monday night at 9 p.m. EST. That would be, I think that's 6 o'clock PST, Pacific time. That's right. You can find us on Discord, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, the whole 9 yards. The Discord link over here, which I'm pointing at right now, is not accurate. Go to the Discord link down below. Join us on the Discord. I try to update it with a whole bunch of new stuff. I will find some kind of content to post. Maybe I'll put the World Cup guy doing the Take the L dance up there this week or something like that. Or if anything huge comes out, maybe I'll put that up there. But on that note, you can follow this guy up here, Average Goatee, on his Twitch channel. Watch him play the Zelda series. You can follow me. I'm at Stuck Mustard. I don't stream as much, but generally I like to play Legend of Zelda Randomizer or a couple other things. Maybe I'll stream some Destiny 2 or Warframe later on this week. But yeah, thanks so much, guys, for hanging out. You got anything else, Chris?
No, that's it for me. All right, well, have an excellent night, and we'll catch you all on the flip side.
Yeah. Enjoy your week and happy gaming.